Hello? Oh, I'm sorry. Hello, everyone. Happy Sabbath, everyone. So today, Andrea has tasked me with the responsibility of educating you on sugar. Yes, it's Andrea's fault. Um, so over the last month and a half, we have been looking at sugar and its impact on your health. And we do have some alternatives for healthy sugar. And I just wanted to educate the church on sugar and what we could do about it. So before we start, let's just pray quickly. Heavenly Father, we thank you for your love. We thank you for your guidance. We ask that you be with us right now as we talk about how to keep our bodies healthy. We ask for your presence to be amongst us. In your name we pray. Amen. So this was a very difficult task for me because everything that I looked at had sugar in it. As I went through my pantry, I was like, okay, I need to figure out what I could keep and what I need to get rid of. So we're going to start off first. So the very first few sections 1, 2, and 3 really are a little bit more scientific because sugar comes in all different forms. So before we can get to how it impacts your health, you have to have some baseline. So I'm going to use some biochemistry terms, but I'll break it down so hopefully everyone can understand what I'm talking about. But I do have some pictures. So number one, we're going to talk about what is sugar, because we think of sugar as a white powder, crystalline powder, crystals that we typically have in our kitchen in a little bag. Next, we'll talk about when you consume sugar, what happens in your body? How does your body break that down? Then we'll go into how you can identify sugar in the things that we eat or drink on a daily basis. Then we'll talk about the effects of sugar on your bodies, how it causes diseases. And this is the area that I think we need to really focus on, because if we don't monitor our sugar intake, it can lead to long-term complications. Then we could talk about the options for healthier eating, which, as you guys all know, is we have the health message. And then I'll just some take-home messages, and then I'll have time for questions. So first thing is, what is sugar? So I will need some help from our little ones. So, all right. So what is sugar? So we often see sugar as the little crystalline substance that is used to sweeten both our food and our drinks. However, sugar is actually made in Mother Nature. It comes in our fruits or vegetables or nuts or grains, but some of them, as you know, most of those are healthy sugar. So there are two categories for sugar. It's the naturally occurring sugar that you could find in fruits, and then there's an added sugar, which we all love, which comes in cakes and candies and banana pudding, apple pies. So so that's what you think of sugar. So two categories: the natural sugars and the added sugars. So today we want to focus on the added sugars so we can know how to eliminate them from our diet. So sugar is a carbohydrate, and its real name is actually called sucrose. So please, guys, remember that name moving forward, sucrose, okay? It is a source of energy. Your cells need sugar to function every day. Your brain doesn't stop working. Your heart doesn't stop beating. You're breathing all the time, your lungs. So cells need sugar for you to work. It is fuel for your bodies. But there are different categories of sugar. So there are three main categories. There's monosaccharides. So this is where it's just one, we call them monomers. They're one, actually there's a picture next. So that's what glucose looks like, okay? So glucose is the one that most of us focus on. And I want you guys to pay attention right now, because the glucose is the one that we all talk about when we talk about sugar, but there's more than one. So there's glucose, and there's one called fructose. and there's one called galactose. So the main ones we're going to talk about today is the glucose and the fructose, okay? And that's what you find if you were to eat an apple has both glucose and fructose, okay? Is that clear so far? All right. So when you combine these two, it is called sucrose. So the same sucrose that's in this apple is the same sucrose that's in the bag of sugar. Okay? It is. So if you... Nope. I'm not saying apples are bad, but it's the exact same ingredients that's in sugar, that's in an apple or an orange, and that's in the bag of powdered sugar. Huh? The white sugar? Oh, the apple is healthy. We'll get to that later on. It's the exact same. So it has fructose and it has glucose. So if you look at that picture, you'll see that. In milk, you have lactose in milk, right? Milk also has two kinds of sugar molecules. One is called galactose and one is called glucose, okay? Do I have you guys with me so far? Yes. All right, good. And the last one is called polysaccharides. That's what you get from starch. This is your beans and your grains and your sweet potatoes. So this is the reason why, even in rice, this is the reason why if you were to eat, say, rice, too much of it, your sugars could spike because in the end it breaks down into glucose, okay? Sure. You can ask questions. I don't mind. You can ask questions as we go. But there's a period at the end as well for questions. All right. So you have seeds, you have rice, you have pasta, your green bananas, your sweet potatoes. So those are all starchy, and they look similar. They look like this. So before, you guys saw there was 2 for sucrose, 1 for just plain glucose. But if you look at the polysaccharides, it's just a long chain, and it's all glucose in the end. So when your body consumes potatoes, rice, in the end, it breaks down into glucose molecules. This is why we want to monitor how much carbohydrates you consume on a daily basis. Okay, where does sugar come from? So most of you guys know from sugar cane and beets. That is where we get most of our sugars from. And if you were to take the sugar and the sugar beets, and you absorb that, you get 100% pure sugar, okay? And it's called sucrose. So when you take the sugar cane and you absorb the molecules from it, you get sucrose, which is the same sucrose as in a fruit. It's the same one that's in a bag of white crystalline sugar. All right. So natural sugars, of course, we talked about our apples or bananas or grapes or plums or peaches. Those are naturally sugared, which has fructose and glucose. Then we have our vegetables. Vegetables also has fructose and glucose. Okay. And the last one is milk. Milk has lactose. And some of you guys, like myself, cannot drink milk because we cannot tolerate lactose because we're missing an enzyme. So milk has galactose and glucose, which combined is called lactose. Okay. All right, let's get to the good stuff. So we know of sucrose now, right? Glucose and fructose. But guess what? There are over 74 different names for sugar. And if you guys want, I made some copies here so you guys can take a copy. Andrew said she doesn't want it. So there are so many different names for sugar, and this is the problem because when you are eating your cereal or eating your oatmeal, you're eating your spaghetti sauce, you don't know that they've added sugar to your meal. So it's important that you learn the names. So as you read the ingredients, you know that it's also sugar that's added. We know the ones like, maple syrup, fruit juices, maltose, the typical name, but it doesn't always say sugar. So it's important for you to learn these names so you can know what you're looking for when you eat products that has ingredients. So let's talk about what happens when you consume anything that has sugar in it. Oh, we got a question? Okay. If we don't have enough, we can make copies. All right, so here's your body. So when you consume, you eat. So do I have a pointer? Is there a pointer? Which one? Okay, there we go. So here's your oral cavity. Okay, so your mouth. The food goes down this esophagus, okay? This is your esophagus. It goes into your stomach, and then it goes down into the small area called the duodenum, into your small intestine, okay? From there, as I mentioned, we eat sucrose, right? The sucrose now is together in the colon. They're together, they're tied together. Together we have glucose and fructose, which is sucrose, right? What happens is your body has an enzyme called sucrase. That sucrase now binds to this disaccharide, which is the glucose and fructose combined, and then it breaks it apart. So now it's separated in your colon, okay? Now this fructose and glucose are now separated. Then the next step will always go to one body part, and that body part is your liver, okay? So this is the reason why when you eat too much sugar, your liver becomes a problem. So we'll talk about that later. So now that the sugar is in the liver now has to metabolize both glucose and fructose, right? So your bodies know what to do with glucose because we need it to survive. So your body's like, what do I do with the fructose? We'll get to that later on. All right, so here in the liver, we have our glucose now. Your glucose is then sent from your liver into the bloodstream, which then goes to your organs, which we use for energy. All right. If you have too much, your liver will store some for later on. So it's called glycogen for like all my nurses and who else? Crystal, and you guys all understand this because we had to do in school. It was mandatory, we had to learn this. So glycogen is a storage unit in our liver for later on. Then if you have too much, your body will then turn the excess sugar into fat. And this is why when you eat too much sugar, and guess where it goes? Right here in the middle section. So then fructose, there are no metabolic activities in your body that requires fructose. So your body's like, what do I do with this? So what does it do? It then converts the fructose into glucose. So everything in the end ends up as glucose or fat. So it takes the fructose and it converts that into glucose, or it gets turned into fat. Now that fat stays in your liver, and that has a whole bunch of problems later on. Or, that's not good at all, I'll talk about that later. Or it turns it into fats so say your doctor does your cholesterol panel, right? And they say, oh, your triglycerides are elevated. It is because of this. Your fructose turns into triglycerides in your blood, and this is why you get high triglycerides in your blood, in your cholesterol panel. Or it turns into one called VDRL, low density, VLDL, which is the bad cholesterol, which goes to your heart and causes heart disease. So you may not eat animal products to have heart disease or to have, fatty liver. Is coming from too much sugar in your diet. And this is the reason why vegetarians who don't eat meat ends up having heart attacks, fatty liver, all these things that people that do eat meat has in the end, because vegetarians tend to overeat on a lot of too much carbs, and we're drinking our calories, and so you have to learn to have a balanced diet. So I want to reiterate this point. If you eat too much sucrose, you will get your glucose, which goes to your cells. It's in your bloodstream at this point. It goes to your cells, uses it for energy. We store some, for later on, and some turns into fat. But the fructose is the problem because your body does not need it. Your body doesn't know what to do with it. So what does it do? It turns it into fat, or it converts it into glucose. Do I have you guys so far? Okay. All right, so last part of this section. So now we have our glucose in our bloodstream. So then now if you eat too much, now sugar's in your bloodstream, then what happens? Your pancreas, this little organ is yellow. Can you guys see it right here? This little organ is called pancreas, okay? That pancreas then releases a hormone called insulin. So that insulin now will go to your cells and say, hey, there's glucose in the bloodstream. Let me take it up into the cells so I can use that for energy. You can work out, lift some weights, your heart is beating. Like it just needs you to have the glucose removed from the bloodstream to keep your levels at a normal level, okay? So once the glucose level starts to come down, it goes into your cells, your pancreas says, okay, there's enough, taking it all out now, let me just go back down and have lower insulin levels at this point. So your bloodstream now is normal, and your insulin levels are also back to a normal level. So that's how the body metabolizes sugar. We're getting to that point. All right, so what's the problem? What's the problem?
You eat too much.
Amen. Amen. A child shall lead them. She says, we consume a ton of added sugar. So if you look, our fructose consumption has increased by 25-fold in the last 30 years. And it's not technically all of our faults, it's the fact that the food industry has now added that to everything that we're eating and drinking, and we don't even know we're consuming it. So water is better, you're right. So the problem is the increase of consumption of fructose has gone up so much that it's causing a problem to our health. So let's look at this. So if you were to eat your servings of fruits and vegetables every day, you get about 15 grams per day. Now, back in the 70s, you were consuming about 37 grams per day of fructose. By 1994, we're up to 54. Now we're over 80 as a whole in the States. So consumption has gone up by so much. But look at our adolescents. They're in the 70s. They are one of the highest consumption of fructose in today's society. And do you guys know why? Sugary beverages. They are the highest consumption of sugary beverages. So, all right, so let's compare how glucose and fructose work. So glucose, it is not that sweet. Molasses, glucola. I don't know anyone in the hospital who's craving for glucola. Sugars are low, we give them glucola. This has no taste. It's not sweet. Glucose does not stimulate the reward center in your brain. So when you think you got a sweet tooth, it is not glucose. It is fructose. So the glucose, we need it for life. Every cell needs it for energy. But if you don't consume it, guess what? Your body will make it. So you don't have to consume glucose to survive. Your body will make it. It will make it from protein, it will make it from fats. Okay? Now on the other side, let's look at fructose. That is the part of the sugar that is the sweet molecule. That's the molecule that we see can have that sweet tooth for and drive to want to eat. It's in all the additives. It's in everything that we eat. And that is the part that will stimulate the reward center in the brain that makes you crave more of it. As I mentioned, there's no biochemical reaction in the human body that requires dietary fructose. You just don't need it. And if you consume a small can like this, which our kids do, if you just have a small can First of all, this is 12 ounces. I used to be 8 ounces. Now they're 12 ounces. If you consume a small can of this on a daily basis, your risk of obesity goes up by a lot. But over time, the chronic consumption of fructose, it causes your cells to be damaged, and that's what causes the cells to die. And this is why you get fatty liver. This is why you get diabetes. The cells just die. You get PCOS. You get Alzheimer's disease. You get knee and joint pains. So over time, those cells die because of too much fructose in the diet.
So a lot of joint pain, different things and all, is because of sugar?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Inflammation. Yeah.
Could you still eat like McDonald's French fries if you?
Absolutely not. She wanted to know if she could still eat McDonald's French fries. Every now and then. Once in a while, yes. All right. Let's look at the sweetness of things now. So glucose has a sweetness. They have this scale they'll look at to check things to see how sweet things are. So glucose is 0.74. Sucrose, which has glucose and fructose, is at about 1. There. Fructose is, right. So high fructose corn syrup, you guys, it's in everything now. Look at the ingredients. High fructose corn syrup now, it's higher than glucose, higher than fructose, because it has higher than the sucrose, sorry. But then there's something fructose by itself. You see how it's like double what glucose is? It's 1.73, and that's the problem. It is so sweet that it makes you want to go back for more and more. So when you eat a sweet potato pie or apple pie, it's banana pudding. It's the fructose that gives you that sweetness that makes you want more. All right, so are you too sweet? All right, let's see. All right, let's look at some of the foods, sugar in some of our foods, and I may need some helpers here. So over 75% of the foods that we consume in a grocery store has added sugar. All right. Okay, let's do some testing here. All right, who wants to help me? All right. Okay, you can help me. Open that bag. There you go. All right, so let's, for example, every morning we're told to have some orange juice, right, for breakfast, with our breakfast. By the way, a serving size of an orange juice, this is a serving size for an orange juice. This is 8 ounces. This is 8 ounces of orange juice. This is a serving size. If I gave this to my husband, he would look at me like, am I a child, right? Exactly. So this is a serving size for juice. Exactly. You hear what Zoe said? She says, I don't even have that small cup. The sizes of the cups has increased. Right. Okay. So, all right. So this orange juice, right, has 41 grams of sugar. 41. This one has 2. So this came from this. So this has 2 cups. 2 servings. Pure orange juice. Tropic. Right. So most of us will just take this and just have this, with our breakfast. So I want you to guess how much sugar do you, well, I just told you 41 grams, but let's just show you how much scoop of sugar this actually is. All right. So I needed to keep going. A full scoop. No, full scoop. Someone maybe need an adult. Yeah. Hold on. Yeah, I need an adult to help. All right, can I get an adult, please? Yeah. Yeah. All right, so keep going. So we're gonna count. Can you guys? Yeah. We're going to count how many scoops of sugar is in this orange juice. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. That's 4 so far. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, stop. So this orange juice that is supposed to be healthy for us, it has 41 grams of sugar. So to calculate how many scoops of sugar is in whatever you're drinking or eating, you want to divide the number of grams by 4 for the whole bottle. So this has 41 grams. Divide that by 4, that's 10.25, right? So that's 10 and a quarter teaspoons of sugar that's in just this alone. The full bottle. It would be half bottle would be half of this because there's 2 servings per bottle. So grams divided by 4 will tell you how many teaspoons are in that. So I want you to keep this next to this because I don't think we understand fully how much sugar we're consuming. So that's just orange juice. Let me get a teenager. All right, Nate, CJ, you want to come help me with this one? All right. So the kids are drinking these, right? They're drinking Faygo. They're drinking Sprite. All right, CJ, I need you to. All right, your turn. Don't spill it. So I want you to help him out. Hold it back to the side. So this is Orange Crush. Can you divide 71 by 4? I'm gonna use this one. 71 by 4. Okay. 4, 5, 6, 7. Oh, that's a half. That's a half. 8, right? We're at 8. Oh, you got to turn that. 9, 10. Keep going. 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. So, like, look at this, guys. Our kids are drinking, or this is how much sugar they're consuming in this one drink for this one. So this has 71 grams of sugar. Like, look how much sugar this is.
When I was younger,
All right, so
I just wanted to say, when it brought back memories because when I was younger, we used to put the sugar in the bag like that with a packet of Kool-Aid and eat that out of the bag. So, yes. No water. Yeah. The fun dip.
Okay, 1 second. Hold on, hold on. So, yeah, that's done. So put it next to this one. So we know that an orange, that one has 17 plus actually teaspoons of sugar in just that one crush. So this is a smaller can. This has 40 grams. So divide by 4, that's 10. So this has 10. This is the small can. Most kids, they stop buying the small cans. I went to dollar store. I buy this in the dollar store. This one has 51 grams of sugar in this one. Okay, so, I mean, you can go on and on. I mean, my kids love this one. This one has... This one has 59 grams of sugar. Divide that by 4. 14, almost 16, almost 15. So this for the whole can, Okay, so I need Nashe. Which one do you like? This Gatorade or this Gatorade? Powerade? All right. What's your guess? It's Nashe's turn. Oh, this one? Okay. So this one has, I can't see this. So this one has 41 grams of sugar. So here's the thing, guys. These are athletes, right? So we are telling our kids to consume Gatorade because they need electrolytes after they're competing, right? Because they're athletic. We're giving our kids sugar. This is not electrolytes. This is sugar, straight up sugar, right? And they're finishing it too, right? And that's the problem.
Anasha's statement was that, well, if he is exercising, right, and so he is burning the calories and using the glucose, then isn't it okay?
No, it's not okay. You do not want to overload your liver in converting all this fructose into glucose, right? So that's the problem. I'd rather you go and eat before, eat after, eat your healthy sugars than to drink your calories. The problem is we are consuming our calories by drinking. Okay, look at this. Okay, most of us will drink. So this is apple juice, right? This is a serving of apple juice. This is 8 ounces of apple juice, right? How many apples do you think? Exactly. I don't know any kid that will sit there and eat 3 or 4 apples. It is 3 or 4 apples. They're not going to do that, but they will drink 2 of this, which is almost 8 apples, right? That's the problem.
And I think to speak to that point, because we drink so much of our calories, when we actually do eat, that food digests a little bit slower, and then the fat gets stored. But the weird thing about fat cells is they multiply, but they never die. So if you gain fat when you're like 17, 18, it's going to stay there for the rest of your life and just keep growing. You might reduce the size of the fat cells, but the number of fat cells
Doesn't change.
don't change.
That's right.
So the more sugar and stuff you drink, your body doesn't need that energy anymore. So it's just going to store it. So that's why we have so much teenage obesity happening.
That's right. That is. Thank you, Frank. That's a great point. All right. So we spend a lot of time on drinks. So if you look at this, you'll see energy drinks. I mean, when I was in medical school, every night they would drink these. Every night to stay up to study. I've never had one. I don't know what it tastes. I've never had one. Huh? And now they're drinking Prime. Yes. Now they're drinking Prime. Red Bull. I mean, these are just... Red Bull? So this has 38 grams. And then the Monster, the Monster has 28 times number of servings. There's 2 servings in this one, so over 50 grams of sugar. Yeah. That's a lot of sugar. Oh, I don't know. I didn't look at the caffeine. Yeah. Yeah, sugar and caffeine. But look at this. The worst one is Mountain Dew. Mountain Dew has almost 20 teaspoons of sugar. So, not Anasha, where was yours? So this one had 17, right? This was a crush. But the Mountain Dew has even more. Mountain Dew is the worst one. So please, guys, parents, I'm saying to the parents now, do not buy your kids these drinks. It is, I know we have functions and sometimes you want to get the kids something to drink. No Mountain Dew, buy something else. Some water. All right. All right, we talked about this already. So we talked about, how much sugar do you think is in this glass of orange juice? So this is a serving size, right, for an apple juice, 8 ounces. So that one has 27 grams. 27 grams in this small thing of apple juice. 27 grams, which is 7 teaspoons. Orange juice, well, this is double the size. This one had 40. So that would be 21. So the orange juice had 21, the apple juice had 27. So we talked about this already. How many apples does it take to make this small? Yeah, three to four apples to make. The apple juice is worse than the orange juice. So that's why I want you guys to eat the apple as opposed to drinking the apple juice. We want to eat 4 apples, but I'm going to answer that question in a minute. It's on the next slide. It's a couple slides down. Shh, 1 sec. Do I? For the average person, absolutely, absolutely. Too much for you. That's right. So also, it depends on where calories are coming from. So look at this. We all know, I didn't bring any samples because we know. We all know desserts are bad for us. I mean, the cheese pie, the cupcakes, the Jell-O, the carrot cake. Carrot cake, it has carrots, but there's no carrots in it. The apple pie with the ice cream. I mean, the cookies, the brownies, I mean, fudge, you name it. Just don't buy it. Okay, cereal. Okay, guys. I was watching this documentary, and the guy says, eating cereal for breakfast is like eating dessert for breakfast. Okay? Parents, do not buy your kids Fruit Loops. Parents, do not buy your kids. They're just horrible. I used to think Honey Nut Cheerios were supposed to be good for you. Well, okay, so I was raised on Raisin Bran, okay? Exactly. Let me tell you, the raisins are rolled in oil and dipped in sugar. This is why the raisins are white, they're not brown. And if you were to go like this, it would just fall off. It's covered in sugar. The bran is good, but it's the raisins with the sugar that's bad for you. Yes. So they get you. They said it has no high fructose corn syrup, right? Exactly. But they have other kinds of sugar in it. And that's the problem. So the Honey Nut Cheerios. So this one has 13 grams of added sugar per serving. And this is, another thing, a serve, one cup, yeah. So then you have your 1 cup of cereal with 12 grams of sugar. Then you add your milk that has more sugar. And at the end of the day, you just gave your kid dessert for breakfast, and they're off to school in a classroom. They can't sit still because you're just bouncing off the wall from all that sugar, right? Okay. I didn't bring one. So look at the backside, guys. Learn to read the labels yourself. So my whole goal for today is to have you guys read the labels. That way you can, for yourself, divide it by 4 and see how much teaspoons you're getting. All right. Okay, well, before we get there. Okay, so Sister Pam, number 2. She loves her oat. She told me, don't talk about her oatmeal. I did bring some. So this oatmeal, it says high fiber oatmeal, right? These are the instant one. I mean, they have added 7 extra grams of sugar for a small packet. And the average person eats 2 packages, right? So that's the problem with these. Yeah. So your alternative is this one. There's no sugar added. So what you do is you could use an unsweetened milk, almond milk, silk milk, and then you can add some natural fruits to the top, strawberries, blueberries, bananas, to give it the sweetness that you're looking for. Oh, we'll get there. No maple syrup. Okay, go to the mic. Yeah. All right, we got a question, Sister Wida? One cup. So that's not bad. So that's good. That's a good alternative, Sister Pam. Okay, so yogurt. Yogurt is the most unhealthy, healthy snacks, they say. It's loaded with sugar. And I brought one and left it in my fridge at home. But it had so much sugar. I even bought the silk yogurt, and I was amazed. I haven't bought it in months since once I found out. There are some that's unsweetened, so find those ones. Absolutely. So find the unsweetened one. Okay. We've got a question from a young person here.
Oh, what do we have for our birthday? Do we have cake or
Ask your parents. He wants to know, what can he have for his birthday? Can you have a piece of cake? Absolutely. So it's a balancing act, right? It's all about moderation. So someone mentioned granola. So I have not had my granola since I started doing this project because I read the backside of it. This is supposed to be one of the best granola, right? It has fruits, right? Yeah, yeah. I stopped eating it. Nutri-Grain. This is horrible, horrible. Sister Aberdeen.
I haven't heard you make any differentiation between sugar and fructose high corn syrup.
It's coming up. We're getting there. But I did talk about, it's coming up though, in another slide. All right, condiment. Okay, go ahead.
what would we eat for breakfast if everything that we have has sugar?
Okay, you can have oatmeal without the prepackaged ones. Condiments, guys, it's loaded with sugar. Ketchup, Blue Ray's barbecue sauce, it's, you can taste the sweetness in it, just like she said. Yeah. All right, what about brown rice versus white rice? We got a brown rice, we got a white rice. In terms of sugar, it has the exact amount of sugar that's in brown rice and white rice. However, good news. Good news. The good news is that the brown rice has fiber, and the fiber in the brown rice prevents the rise in your blood glucose levels. So that's the good news. Plus, brown rice also has some added vitamins. So if you're going to eat white rice, you're better off eating it with some fiber, kidney beans, mix it with something else that's high in fiber. But your better option is to go with the brown rice, but in terms of sugar, there's no difference. It's just the way the body absorbs it. All right, Sister Aberdeen, here's your question. So we're talking about sugar. So there are different kinds of sugars, okay? Table sugar, brown sugar, high fructose corn syrup, maple syrup, honey, agave. We have them all here. We've got our brown sugar, we've got our honey, agave, we've got our syrup, we've got our maple syrup. So look at this. Agave, which I thought was supposed to be good, it's the worst one. It's 80% fructose. And when it comes to white sugar and brown sugar, it is the exact same. I know, I was shocked. So when you use brown sugar and white sugar, it's the same, 50% glucose, 50% fructose. Honey, same thing with honey. 50% glucose, 50% glucose. So exactly. So honey is a better, but I'm talking about sugar here. So in terms of sugar, there's no difference. There are some extra added benefits to natural sugar, but in this case, your body will see honey like it sees white sugar, fructose and glucose. So the goal is to limit how much of it you're consuming, period. High fructose corn syrup, it has 55% is fructose, 45% glucose. So it's worse than white sugar. Mm-hmm. Little. So it's worse than white sugar. How much is in that one? I'm about to look that one up. So overall, look at how much we're consuming. So on average, the recommendation is, so there's hope, guys, there's hope. The recommendation is that if you're going to consume it, they have come up with some recommendation on how much the body can really process on a daily basis. And not everyone agrees with this. They're saying the kids, they can have 3 teaspoons a day. Adults, women, you can have 6 teaspoons a day, which means that you can only have half, half of this, okay, for the whole day, right? Yeah. So this is a recommendation. A man, you can have up to 9 teaspoons a day. I still think it's too much, but that's because that's how much your liver can metabolize truly in a day and be okay. Anything over that, you're overloading your liver. Remember, your liver needs to be protected at all times. And that's the problem with sugar. Right.
So this daily sugar recommendation, is it like added sugar? Not their added sugar, but is this on top of that, or is this literally like from the food that we eat?
So they're saying that when it comes to fruits and vegetables, there's no limit. Just eat your fruits and vegetables. Those sugars are okay. That's your natural occurring sugar because it all has fiber, and your body knows what to do with it. Well, I'm going to get to in a minute. Your body knows what to do with the fructose that's in this apple than the fructose that's in the drinks. Okay. There's a difference. I'm going to show you in a minute.
So that's 6 teaspoons.
Outside of your regular healthy diet.
Okay, so
right.
if I make oatmeal, I can add 6 teaspoons.
Well, That's for the whole day. That's right. That's right, Crystal. All right. So actually, we're consuming about 20 a day, the average American. So remember, we recommend for a man, 9, for women, 6, but the average person is almost 20 a day. So we got to cut back. Okay, Proverbs says, it is not good to eat too much honey. I didn't say that, the Bible said that. So even the Old Testament, told us not to eat too much honey, okay? Too much sugar. All right, so let's talk about what happens to your body when you consume too much sugar. We're almost done, guys, we're wrapping up now.
What you feeling chatty all of a sudden? Sorry, I can't talk right now. I got some secret cases of my own I'm working on.
I hate to tear you away from your video game.
All right, I'm hanging up.
You know the most destructive force in the universe?
Sugar?
Regret.
So even Hollywood knows that the most destructive force in this universe is sugar. All right. Can you go to the next one? All right, so let's look at different body parts right now. We'll be quick here. So we're going to talk about the different parts of the body that get impacted when you eat too much sugar. Okay, I think we know most of them. All right, number 1, the liver. Because remember we said, right, when you consume sugar, the first organ it goes once it leaves your intestine is where? The liver. And what happens? We're consuming way too much fructose in our diet. And that fructose, when it gets to the liver, it gets turned into sugar and fat. After a while, when you're consuming too much, the liver gets overloaded. And what happens? Those fat the sugar turns into fat. And it stays on the liver. I remember when I was in medical school, they made us, we had to open the cadaver, open the body, and I touched the liver. It's a very smooth, it's very brown, just like that. It's very smooth. When we had one from a person who was an alcoholic, it was hard, and I thought fat would have been soft. It was a fibrotic, fatty liver. So that, once the liver gets to that point, it stops working. And that fat now starts to be deposited somewhere else. And this is why you get that abdominal obesity and leads to metabolic syndrome, which causes high cholesterol, heart disease, a whole bunch of other problems. So you've got to protect your liver at all times. So cut back on the fructose so your liver doesn't have to be overloaded.
Quick question. What are some of the symptoms of a fatty liver?
So the problem is you don't know. Most of us don't know, so we could see physically what some of those symptoms are, which if you start to see your abdominal, waistline getting bigger for a man is 35. If it's about 35, go to your doctor. When we do the blood work, and if the blood work shows your ALT, well, that's also changed. It used to be 25 was the upper limit. Now it's up to 40 because so many of us has fatty liver, they're now allowing you to be a little fatty liver. So they've increased that limit now up to 40, but look at your blood work. It should be 25 or less. Sister Aberdeen?
Yes, I thought you were going to speak more about the high fructose corn syrup.
So this is it right now. So the high fructose corn syrup causes fatty liver. Absolutely. That's one of the main causes, and that's mainly from what we're seeing.
High fructose corn syrup.
Yes, that's it. It causes fatty liver.
Yes, it does, but they use that more in a lot of
In everything, that's right.
because it's cheaper and
Yes.
it's man-made.
That's right.
They need to understand.
Absolutely.
That fructose overload up there is probably coming from
High fructose corn
those
syrup.
other sugars. But
So-
it doesn't say the difference.
So in here, you're going to see it. It's all in here. So all of these have high fructose corn syrup. All of these.
So they need to read that in the label
Exactly.
as well.
Exactly.
That it's high
Fructose corn syrup, absolutely.
As well as sugar.
yeah.
They don't always include the high fructose as added sugar.
Oh, they do. So it's
you
now
have to
mandated to
read
do
it.
that. Yes.
You have to read
So
it.
now it's mandated. So they have to label it now. So if you look at all these ingredients, they all have high fructose corn syrup. That's a problem. It's a big problem we're facing now. Yeah. It is. Yeah, it is. Yeah. All right. So the two things we said, right? So prior to 1980, guess what? We only saw fatty liver in alcoholics. So your body metabolizes fructose, high fructose corn syrup, just like it does alcohol. So we're seeing kids nowadays, 5-year-olds, 6-year-olds, teenagers with fatty liver that never existed before. So once it was introduced in the 1980s, Sister Aberdeen, high fructose corn syrup came in 1981. From that point on, from that point onwards, we're seeing the pediatric population with fatty liver. And now adults, almost half of us has fatty liver. It's a huge problem, and you may not know. So you have to see your doctor, get your blood work done, check your labs. It is reversible, exactly.
How do you know if you have fatty liver?
So that's what I'm saying. A lot of times you don't know. So one of the things that we do know is that you can get what's called insulin resistance from fatty liver, because all that fat is not just in the liver, it's elsewhere, and it goes right here. Yeah.
So what are the symptoms of being insulin resistant?
So you get things like, if you see your doctor, the fatigue, the mental fog, it's like your memory gets impacted by it, your memory loss, joint pains, for women, irregular menstrual cycles. All right, we all know about diabetes. I need to get into that one. We all know that high sugar leads to diabetes, and it's self-explanatory, right? Does everybody understand that? So what happened? Go ahead.
I was going to ask, what is diabetes?
So diabetes is there's multiple things. So there's one that's called type 1. That is just your pancreas, which we talked about earlier, just cannot make insulin. So you just can't make it. So you have to get it in order to survive. So if you eat, your sugars will stay high unless you get the injections. So that's type 1. Type 2 is from lifestyle changes. That's from excess weight, excess sugar, excess fructose in the diet, which turns to sugar, which turns to fat. And so your cells now aren't able to respond to your own natural insulin. So what happens is your pancreas keeps giving you more and more and more to take it out of the bloodstream. And what happens, it becomes resistant to those cells, and so it stays high in your bloodstream. So over time, that cycle, after a while, you can't keep up, and the sugars remain high. And then if it stays high for too long, you have they check your fasting sugar, they check your A1C, and we can also check a fasting insulin level. If it's above 10, then you might have insulin resistance. All right. Okay, the brain. So cravings. So high amounts of sugar, especially fructose, it goes to your brain. Your body releases dopamine, right? Dopamine is the pleasure. It's the pleasure center. This is where you feel good. Everybody wants to feel good. So what happens is your brain says, I'm now rewarded. And it keeps wanting more to reinforce that feeling. This is why you can't have one piece of pie. You want a second piece of pie. You eat a scoop of ice cream, you want more ice cream. So that dopamine level stays high at all times. And so you want that craving. That craving keeps getting higher and higher and higher. You find yourself, you have one piece, The next day you want another piece, and then every day you find yourself going after that sugar now. That craving stays high. So you want to limit how much you're eating so you don't have to have the dopamine levels being so high. So here's the brain, okay? This part is the dopamine area. So that's a normal brain, okay? You have your dopamine cells have enough dopamine. Here is the brain of someone who uses cocaine. What happens here? See that dopamine levels? They're minimal. They're just disappearing. They're gone. It's been overloaded so much that the cells just start to die. You don't have enough. You need so much more cocaine to get that same reward that you're craving for. Here's a brain of a sugar person. Look, see that? Very similar. So sugar is like cocaine. It's exactly, they're a white addictive powder. So guys, please, I know it's just a talk today, but this is your health we're talking about. This is serious. So I want you guys to really think about this, especially from the brain. I mean, these kids are young and beautiful and talented. Don't, impact their health from now. If they're old, they choose to do that, make them do that. But at this age, it's up to us as parents to feed them the right thing, teach them about this stuff so they can learn how to read the labels and avoid some of these unhealthy products. Okay, so you see that it impairs your memory. It impairs your ability to learn new skills. And now they're calling Alzheimer's disease type 3 diabetes. Yes. Yes. Because sugar, when it goes to the brain, is causing inflammation. It's causing your brain, where the memory cells are, they're dying. And it causes a buildup of these things called different, these plaques, and it causes Alzheimer's disease. So this is why if you have any family member with Alzheimer's, they crave sugar. They crave sugar. Next are digestive system. So, all right, so this is the cells in the colon, okay? These are your cells. So you eat food, food's coming. Your body will absorb it, okay, into the cells. Your body absorbs. The body has healthy cells around it, bacteria. Some are bad, some are good. The ones that we have to protect our gut lining is usually here. So if we consume something that has a virus or bacteria, guess what? We have a tight membrane here to prevent that from coming down and going to your bloodstream, okay? That's a normal gut. That's what you want, a healthy gut. What happens when you have too much sugar, that barrier here, that tight thing now disappears. So you now have what's called leaky gut. So anything can now leak into the bloodstream. That now bad bacteria and all that stuff keeps going to your bloodstream. Viruses go into your bloodstream. So does mucus. And so now the gut you're leaking all these unhealthy things into your gut, and that causes inflammation. Goes to your joints. That's why you get joint pains. It goes into your ovaries, causes PCOS. So people always say, oh, my stomach hurts after I eat. That's why your healthy bacteria in the gut disappears. It can't work anymore. So this is why too much sugar impacts the cells in your colon. It's coming there. You can. We can. 2 ways you could do that. It's coming up. 2 ways. Okay, our teeth. We all know sugar feeds on the bacteria in the mouth. It leads to cavities, gum disease. The bones get weaker. You have to take the tooth out because it gets weaker. So, guys, remember, in the morning, brush your teeth. Before you go to bed, brush your teeth. Do not eat hard candies because it sticks longer. So just remember that. So cut back on sugar, sugary drinks, hard candies. I know it's hard, but it's doable. Heart disease, we talked about that already. So you see, here's a normal, bloodstream here with the sugars. When the sugars get too high, remember I was telling you, the fructose gets turned into fat. And what happens? See that fat? Yeah, lines the arteries, and it gets thicker over time, and that itself leads to blood vessel narrowing and leads to reduced supply going to the heart. You get a heart attack and heart disease. So that's what causes the blockages. So you don't have to eat meat to have heart disease. Sugar can do it. Kidneys. All right. Kidneys is another organ that gets impacted by high sugar. If you eat too much sugar, it damages the cells in the kidneys. The blood sugar starts to go up high. Your kidney cells start to spill protein into the urine. It's a sign. If you have protein in the urine, it's a sign that your kidneys are damaged. Okay? There's something that we check called GFR in the blood work and creatinine. Ask your doctor what those numbers are. If you're not sure what they are, you can always come and ask me. So that's when it's called when the myoglobin breaks down, it becomes metabolized by the kidneys. So that's a temporary thing. With long-term sugar, it becomes a long-term thing. So the problem is the kidneys the damage is not too bad. It can be reversed, but it's a point of no return with the kidneys. So that's why you have to be careful. So if you have diabetes, you want to keep your sugars low because that will impact your kidney function. Too much sugar, once again, damages the cells in the kidneys. Okay, we're almost done. We talked about this, joint pains. So arthritis, swelling of the joints, too much sugar can cause that. Okay, inflammation, that's right. PCOS, so here's the thing. So when I was in medical school, we were taught to use metformin to treat PCOS. And we just do that. And then over time, as I was preparing for this, I'm like, now I know why we use metformin. It's because metformin lowers your sugar and it causes your cells to be less resistant to the insulin. Because I know that it's the high sugar that causes inflammation in the ovaries, causes metabolic syndrome, and it leads to your ovaries not able to release that egg every month and cause irregular cycles. And so now to treat that, we use metformin to lower your sugars, which will hopefully in the end regulate your cycles. So if you have PCOS, you want to, first of all, work on your weight, reduce your weight to a BMI at least less than 25 or so, less sugar, less processed foods, and you'll see an improvement in your cycles. 60 and above. And then the end of it leads to glomerular filtration rate. So in the end, you end up with a metabolic syndrome. You have the abdominal obesity, the fatty liver, the joint pain, the skin. It just leads to a whole bunch of all these chronic medical conditions. So this is why if you find yourself putting on weight, guys, just stop right there and ask yourself, what is causing this? Look at your diet. Exercise. When you exercise and you have more muscles, your body can metabolize those sugars for energy. So it won't be stored anymore. So this is where exercise, you may not lose weight, but it will help your sugar and your cells will love it. All right. Exercise. Eat healthy and exercise. All right. So solutions. We all know, we have the health message. Eat more fiber. You know what the fiber does? Couple of things. The fiber allows you to so, for example, if I ate this apple right now, it has glucose and fructose, right? The fructose that I ate in this apple will be used up by the microbiomes in my colon. My body will not absorb it. So if you drink the fructose from this, it will absorb it. The fructose that's in the fruits and the vegetables, your colon uses it for themselves. And the fiber prevents the quick absorption of the sugar, so your sugar doesn't do that spike. Oh, yeah, yes. Mm-hmm. Right. This is your kombucha. Forget about the drink. I mean, the idea behind this correct. It's the fiber. There's nothing better than fiber in your diet. That fiber allows even the way your body breaks down the sugar in the food. It goes a little bit further downstream in the colon, so you're not doing the quick absorption earlier in the colon. So and it's a slower absorption. It forms. Okay, I think I have a slide on it. See, it forms a barrier in the colon to prevent the fructose from being absorbed. And once it stays there, your colon will use it, and then it reduces your insulin levels from going up to help take the sugar out of the bloodstream. So it does a couple of things. It lowers your insulin rise. It also prevents that fructose from being absorbed. So you need the fiber in your diet and I believe in more natural fiber. Yes, you could do Metamucil and all these other things, but the natural fiber is nothing beats eating your fruits and vegetables. Nothing. Keeps the doctor away. It's true. It is absolutely true. All right, we're almost done.
Is lemon a fruit?
Lemon is good for you. Is lemon a fruit? It has seeds, right? I know, yes. All right. So also with fiber too, it protects the colon from colon cancer. So you need 25 or more grams of fiber every day. Like an apple has about 3 to 4 grams of fiber. Baked black beans has 7 grams of fiber. Kidney beans 7 to 8 grams of fiber. Steel cut oatmeal has 11 grams of fiber. So you want to eat your fiber in your diet every day to help prevent your body from absorbing quick sugars. So the idea is like sorry, that's a mistake. No. So we want you to eat the fruit and do not drink the juice. All right. I'm sorry. Lots of vegetables. Vegetables. Lots of fiber. It's good for the colon. It's good for your sugar metabolic rate. And you have tons of options. I mean, there's so many options out there. I mean, there's not enough fruits and vegetables that you can't eat. I don't know anyone that eats too much fruits and vegetables, but we all eat too much unhealthy foods. All right, take-home messages. It's a balance. So we recommend a healthy diet, but if you want to consume some of these things, don't overdo it. Once in a while is fine. It should not be a daily thing. Look at the serving size and either do less or the serving size and just don't overdo it. Because we can't get away from some of these things, unfortunately. So I'm saying that if you want to, drink some orange juice, squeeze your own oranges and drink the juice. You want the fiber. The juice doesn't have the fiber, right? They've taken away the fiber from the juice, so you want to make sure that you're eating the fruit to get the fiber from it with the sugar. Nope, they're all the same. So there's a guy, his name is Dr. Robert Lustig. I bought his book, actually. He bought a book called Metabolical. And he actually talks about the foods that we're eating today and how the food industry is actually putting so much unhealthy sugar in our diet, and that's what's causing us to be sick. And I read this book as well. It's called Pure, White, and Deadly. I highly recommend this book. Every one of us should buy this book. I bought it for $4 on a used bookstore online, so if you have time, you can, check it out. So protect your liver, which means that you're going to put less fructose into your liver. Right? And your gut. Your gut needs fiber. So protect your liver and feed your gut. All right. So whatever you do, whatever you eat or drink, whatever you do it all to the glory of God. So when you bring God into the equation, you're eating, it changes everything. It does. All right, and that's all I have for you today. It wasn't bad, right? It wasn't all bad, right? It wasn't.
So you said some of those, like the fatty liver and leaky gut, they're reversible?
Yes, they are.
How do you do that?
So the key is you want to consume a minimum of 25 grams of fiber every day and limit your fructose, your glucose intake to, as a woman for your age, to 6 or less grams of sugar per day. Yes. Not from like your like fruits and vegetable sugar. Those are all naturally occurring sugars. The body needs those, but anything added. And you know, I know we did 21-day fast and we cut out all sugar. That, I mean, I did it and I saw a difference in my own self. I felt it was challenging to maintain that long term. But I think if we could, even if we just do even 3 grams, I mean, you know, but it would be good to not do it at all. But it's really, in today's society, is almost impossible. But the aim is to strive high.
I just want to say, I did the Daniel Fast Challenge, and LaToya will attest, I had some high-level liver enzymes or whatever, and I asked her, well, what causes that? And she said, sugar. But when I retested after the fast, my numbers were good.
Normal, yes.
However, so I maintained the no sugar for 1 week after the 21 days, and then, you know, we were at Andrea's house, and I had some sugar. She had some chocolate, those chocolate thin wafer things, and I mean, I feel like I've been eating sugar every day ever since. Like, it just took one night
exactly.
of indulging. Yeah.
Yeah.
I would also like to add that if you want to eat a little bit of sugar, just exercise more. No, because at least that's how I live.
Well,
I know I like to eat a certain number, more so calories for me. Mm-hmm. I like to eat a lot of calories, so I exercise so I could eat what I want and not become overweight. So it's always balance. I think right now what we're addressing is the diet side, and if you want to keep your sugar down, then don't eat any sugar. But if you want to eat a little bit of sugar, go for a walk, go exercise, do something extra, and you can afford the little bit extra, right?
Yeah. Yeah, so to finish Frank's thought, you want to make sure you have muscles. So if you're going to work out, do a little bit of resistance training. Muscles burn glucose. No, seriously, guys, though, if you're going to work out, do the cardio, that's fine, do the cardio, but just spend a little bit of time doing some resistance. Even if you're watching TV, do 50 crunches, 50 lunges, just do something to gain a little bit of resistance to your body. And if you see this starting to go, you know, for a woman 30 and a man 35, if it's starting to be more than that, you know that you've got to make a change for once in your life.
To go against what Frank said, we don't have to eat sugar. I've been known as a bit of a purist, so take this for what it is. Yeah. But I think we've convinced ourselves that it's not possible to eat healthier because of all of the negative options that are in front of us. But that's not true. It is possible to do it differently. All those who did the Daniel fast, regardless of what version you did, you made an intentional, deliberate effort to make a change. And so if you want to make a change, knowing what you know now, with the help of God, that is completely within your ability to do. And there are people here, LaToya, who will help us get where we need to be.
Amen. Yeah. It's doable. It is hard, guys, but it is doable. I mean, after the fast, I went through my pantry, and it's all in the garbage, everything I took out, because, I mean, yeah. But honestly, it was difficult, but it's doable. And I like how I felt, you know, that feeling, that fatigue that I had, that you just go into work every day, you just feel tired. I mean, that was gone. I mean, who wants to be tired every day from just consuming, you know? Yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
So I struggled from day one doing the Daniel diet. So I created my own diet-ish, and it consisted of sleeping and getting more sleep, and then I'm burning calories in my sleep. And then when I wake up, I turn in the mirror and I feel and look slimmer.
Yes.
And so I just don't know how true that is, because I can make it make sense to me. but I don't know, maybe you can tell me better.
So it is a known fact that if you get to bed about 2 hours before midnight and get a good 7 to 8 hours of sleep, it is good for you in terms of your weight. That is absolutely true. It's been proven. Yeah.
You're doing good. You're doing good.
So while you're working on your sleep, let's work on you cutting out the processed food. Especially, guys, it's the drink. Do not drink your calories. Don't drink your calories. So you want the fiber. So you don't want to put the juice through the thing where all the fiber comes out. You want to make sure you're eating all the fiber with whatever you're juicing.
Just eat your juice.
With the pulp, yeah. Just eat the vegetables. Just eat the fruit.
Eat the apple, Annie Mae. Just eat the apple. But I just have a suggestion. There were a lot of good points. And one who's kind of experimented with different options. Like you said, Yana, that sleep works. That sleep works. Also, one other thing is that I've found that works is intermittent fasting. If you don't eat, if your last meal is around 7 o'clock, your body is working and burning calories and fat while you sleep. You don't have to do anything. Mm-hmm. You don't have to do any exercises. You don't have to do all that stuff. So if you do 12 to 15 hours on an intermittent fast, your first meal, say, is what, 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock the next day? You have a cheat code right there. Mm-hmm. And then you can eat throughout the day, and then your body is using that food as fuel because you're working, you're moving around. Also, what I found out, exercise is the key. We live in a society where everybody wants a quick result.
Yes.
And what I've learned is one day of not eating sugar, you're not going to get any results.
Yeah. Yeah.
One day of exercising, you're not going to get any results. One day of praying, you're not going to get any results. It has to be a consistent process. Yep. You have to discipline yourself. Yeah. You can't have one without the other. If you're just eating enough, I'm eating healthy, you just eat, you're not burning. Your body's not being efficient. God created our bodies to move. Tie all three of those things in together, the intermittent fasting, and just watch the results and watch the fat fall off. I know I'm a skinny guy. You'll say, oh, you can't see any fat on you. But when I've done the intermittent fasting and I worked out, that little pouch right here, 'cause I'm a truck driver. I sit all day long. So, but when I do the intermittent fasting, exercise. Hey. Don't hate the message. Don't hate the messenger. Hey. Don't make me take off my shirt.
Mr. Aberdeen.
Thank you very much, Dr. Austin. It was very informative. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
I just want to share from a personal testimony that this year I'll be 79 on the 24th of March. And I want to say that it is doable, because when I first learned about this message, I embraced it, and I've kept it all these years. That's not to say that I never cheated, but the principles is what has kept me through all of these years. And one of those principles is, as Lana said, you must get your sleep. It's so important. The other thing, you must get enough water. Water is key, and how you drink that water is key. We shouldn't be drinking it when we're eating. Eating and drinking together is very terrible for your gut, and it ought not to be done. You should drink 30 minutes before your meal, and at least an hour and a half, 2 hours after that meal before you drink anything else again. The key is not to eat in between your meals either.
That's right.
You have your breakfast, nothing more, for 5 hours at least so your stomach can empty. 5 hours, you have your next meal. And ideally, that last meal will be no later than 5 o'clock. If you're going to bed at 10 o'clock, you should go to bed with an empty stomach. That is how you get the premium rest. No food in your stomach. And so you rest well. And so sleep is important, but an empty stomach helps that to work better in your physical body. So I just want to say that Southside, you're going in the right direction if you pay attention to the things that you learned today, and by the grace of God, with prayer, just carry them out. Every time you feel you're going to do it, just start praying. Yes, I cheat, but I get on my knees and I ask God to help me. I don't want to cheat.
Yeah.
But sometimes the flesh will override you. And that's the time when you have to really get stern with yourself. You have to pray more and more and ask God to help you. Because that's the only way. Remember, Jesus fasted 40 days and 40 nights to overcome the flesh. And he has told us that man shall not live by bread alone. So we need to take it to heart and to understand that it is possible, it is doable. You know, yes, every TV commercial is about food or medication. So we have to just gear our minds towards not taking in what they are saying, not buying it because it looks good. You know, even when you're in the supermarket, just walk up and down those aisles and look and see how much of this food is natural. How many aisles have natural food? Only the one that they push all the way to the back, which is produce. And by the time you get there, you ain't got no more money, so you don't buy anything else, you go out to shop. But it's doable, and I want to encourage us to know it is doable. And I just want to thank the Health Department and Dr. Austin for this afternoon. Thank you.
Thank you.
I had a question about the oatmeal.
Yes.
The Quaker.
Yes.
So every day for school, I eat 2 packs of the apple ones, but then I have gym class to work it off. Then when I come home from school, I do a workout. So would that be fine, or should I change it?
I would prefer for you to get your. I would prefer for you to eat this oatmeal and put the apples on top. And you can add cinnamon. Yeah. The whole aim, guys, we want to minimize or avoid anything processed. There's nothing better than this in its most natural state. So, I mean, if you're on, you're out camping in the woods one weekend and that's all you have, go ahead, eat it on a camping trip. But in your house on a daily basis, CJ, I wouldn't do it on a regular basis. Once in a while, yes, but not regularly.
Same thing that I do, but what about the natural grain? How much sugar does that have?
Which one? Oh yeah, it has a lot.
You're crushing their souls.
You want to see it for yourself, Danny?
Like nothing. I can't eat that.
You want to see? All right. So you see where it says 12 grams of added sugar. So divide that by 4. So that's 3 scoops of sugars.
Eat a bar with the oatmeal? How much would that be?
So 12 plus. I don't see it. So 12 plus 15, Danny. That's a lot. That's 27. Right. So you should only have 3 to 4 a day, which means that if you have a Nutri-Grain bar, that's it for you for the day. That's it. Go ahead.
No, I was gonna also suggest to CJ and a lot of the young people. I heard I think it's like a reel, like a YouTube reel, where they were talking about how a lot of young people eat sugar to start their day, whether it's in cereal or their waffles or their pancakes or all these things that we're accustomed to as breakfast foods. But you should really target eating more protein in the morning.
That's right.
Because it facilitates better brain function and digestion through the day.
Absolutely.
Because a lot of our young people are dealing with ADHD symptoms. And it's because of all the sugar they eat first thing in the morning.
That's
and
right.
then they have to go sit in a class for like 3 hours, and they have no way to burn it off.
But guess
so
what,
they can't focus, they can't.
And it impairs their memory. Their learning skills are
Right.
being impaired by it.
Right,
Yeah.
so for parents, target more. Chris and I, we just started boiling more eggs and
Yeah.
giving them more like protein-based
Right.
foods in the morning.
Yeah.
And we have actually seen a difference.
Yes.
So that's a suggestion.
It's true. Thank you. Any other questions before you wrap up?
I have a question also.
Sure.
The first one, when they write no sugar added, that big label, what kind of sugar are they talking about?
Mainly high fructose corn syrup.
So when we see no sugar added, does it mean that's the right product for us?
Exactly. Yeah. So if it says no sugar added, that's what you want. So if the sugar is in it, it means that sometimes it's a naturally occurring sugar. However, if it's from a fruit or a vegetable, they have removed the fiber. And that's not what you want.
Okay.
So if it says added sugar, you don't want that. But it's naturally occurring sugar, like sometimes you see in juice, it will say, oh, some of that is naturally occurring sugar. That is true. But when you do the juicing, you remove the skin and you remove the fiber from that juice.
Thank you for the information. I want to still go a little bit further. so like for breakfast, normally you want some kind of a liquid. I
Tea.
think that's the way we.
You could do water with lemon. You could do herbal tea with warm water. I haven't put sugar in my tea in so long. I just have a tea bag and hot water. Some people do water with lemon, like some lemon. Some people do infused water. They could put, some people put.
How does that compare with the milk, a combination of milk, let's say with the drink that you talk about for tea? If you go for milk and maybe bread, is that fine?
What?
Yes.
So the question is, should you do toast with tea? Toast and tea?
Yeah, I'm talking about a proper breakfast meal. What would be the right combination?
So you have options. So you have oatmeal with some fruits on it. Sometimes I do peanut butter and banana sandwiches. Sometimes I do like unsweetened almond milk with strawberry and banana, and I also put my flaxseed in it, and I put a vegan protein. Yeah, you put seeds in it. If you do eggs, you could do egg whites with avocado and tomato sandwich on whole grain bread, or 12 grain bread, or Ezekiel bread.
You could also introduce a half a cup of a legume with your breakfast.
Yeah.
A half a cup of lentils, or half a cup of black eye beans, or half a cup of lima beans. These are very high in fiber, and they will supplement your breakfast and take you through to your next meal.
Yeah, so it depends on you, because sometimes I have dinner for breakfast. I have a real meal for breakfast. So it totally depends on, what you like to consume. I don't limit breakfast food to just breakfast, or I don't limit dinner foods to just dinner. Like, I've had salad for breakfast before. Like, I'll eat whatever. Once it's healthy, I'll eat it.
So again, the organic raw sugar is not a good sugar to use. I mean, that's what I use, and it says no GMOs and all that stuff.
Right. So like I said, you are allowed so much sugar in the day, extra sugar. So if you choose to consume the brown sugar or the raw sugar, just know that you just limit it to a smaller amount. If you're used to putting 1 or 2 scoops of sugar in the morning with your tea, just maybe go down to 1. So with the aim of hopefully getting down to as little or none as possible. Yeah. Yeah. Right. All right, one last question.
Could we eat eggs for breakfast?
Absolutely, especially the white part, but not the yellow part. It's good protein. Well, thank you guys so much for your attention today. I hope you learned something, and I hope you can practice some of these things that we talked about today. And the goal is to keep your liver strong, prevent diabetes, prevent leaky guts, prevent the joint pains, so you can live a healthy life so we can serve our Lord and Savior. Thank you.
I just want to thank Dr. Austin one more time. It took a lot of time and effort to put this presentation together and have all of her examples, so I really thank you, LaToya. And we were talking, we thought that this would be like a 45-minute presentation, but you guys really absorbed the information and had great questions. And so we also talked about doing other presentations. And so if you have any subjects, topics in mind, please let Dr. Austin know. And also, I also wanted to reflect on that within our congregation, we have like so many health professionals and people that are interested in health, right?